You ready? I know, happy hour.
Yeah, happy hour, and after that last presentation, I'm kind of blown away. So how do I make this go forward?
You just hit.
Okay. All right, good. Okay, I'll try to make this quick. Try to make this quick for everybody as you get your beer. Thank you if you're still sitting there, for those of you who are. So my name is Keri Meredith, and I work at Engine Yard, and another platform as a service vendor. Some of you have heard of us. Yeah, we're in Portland too. So what we do, platform as a service, you don't have to worry about. You can create your app, deploy it. You don't have to worry about your app server, your web server, whatever. And check it out if you haven't already. If you want an Engine Yard t-shirt, check out the app and give us some feedback on our trial. Okay, so what I'm talking about is user experience and how developers and writers can make a difference. Something that might be obvious to a lot of you, but maybe not to all, is the better your user experience, the less documentation that's required, and then in the end run, the less support and training required. So please, if you're not working on your user experience, if you're not looking at the interface and trying to be creative and really get to what your customers need, look again. Make your UI easy to learn, easy to understand, easy to troubleshoot, and the more you spend and invest there, the less some writer is going to have to explain what it is that it's doing or it's supposed to do. And give your support team a chance to actually get to know your customers and make those valuable relationships rather than explaining the same thing over and over again. So just a couple of user UI examples that I have here. And what I want to get across is there's no one right answer for your user experience. Your customers are different from some other software companies' customers. There are a lot of ways to do it. You could do tooltips. You can embed progress right in your UI. These are just a couple of examples. The top one is part of our old UI. We're actually in the process of changing it. And the bottom is something from Bank of America. But you can see Bank of America is kind of famous for trying all sorts of stuff with embedded user assistance. The traditional question mark help. You have little sentences underneath the other sentence saying, what this is, gives you a little bit more explanation. Sometimes it right inside the field, so above the field, below the field, inside the field. Yesterday, Wufoo, they had some great examples, I thought. Also, it's great to show progress, where you are, if it's a multi-step workflow. So I just want to encourage you, when you're creating your UI or when you're looking at your UI, is to be creative. Think about what you can do differently. Make your labels really easy to understand. Don't use jargon or even acronyms if you don't have to. And again, as I said, rollovers are good. Another thing is error messages. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine, but I wanted to just bring it to this audience, take it home, and hopefully you can do some things with it. To keep things short, I think I'll just skip over this next one, but it's just another example. You can look at the presentation online. Just another example of different ways of doing things. Over there in the left nav, they have expandable and contractible help or navigation. So when you're talking about error messages, come up with a template. And I know for a lot of companies, you're a small company, you're a startup company, you merge with another company, you get bought out by another company, and a lot of times the software that ends up at the end of that is a combination of a lot of different things. So the sooner you can come up with a template for your error message, the better. This is just one example. Have a timestamp, and think about this for the support people and for your customers. They want to know, when did the error happen? Where did it come from? And especially if you have combined software, you want to talk about, this came from Postgres, or this came from the cron job, or whatever it is. What the issue is, what's the severity of the issue? Is this just a warning or informational? And really important is, what do I do? And this is important for the support people. So they don't have to get the call if you give the customers some ideas about what they can do. And if there's a log file, point to that as well. So this should be preaching to the choir, but error message 101. Don't tell me what just happened. Don't say, oh, you just did the same thing twice, but tell me what to do differently, or what to try next. And I don't think in this presentation I can do it, but this is just an example that I saw recently. 404s, make sure you capture those. Don't let them dump out, right? This is a great one I thought that New Relic put together. They gave a few different things. They said, oops, sorry, kind of acknowledge that you didn't really want to be here. But they also gave you, here's the things you can try, and try this, try that, try the other thing. But they also, I thought it was kind of cute, they put it, here's a cute little video you can watch if you're bored, if you can't think of, you're trying to contemplate what to do next. So anyway, be creative. Thank you.
I would like to add really quickly, one of the things that we actually did at Basho with our 404 pages, if you found this interesting, you might find that also interesting, is we actually put a search box, so it takes the URL that you typed in and just fills out the search box with that, so that you can then search for that somewhere. Anyway, I thought maybe you might be interested in it. I was actually just telling you, not everybody, but you're so far away and I have a microphone. All right, Luke Frankel, I'm sorry. Francel, Lucas, Francel. All right, sorry.
I want to write a tutorial on how to do exactly what you just talked about. It's like next thing on my list. Okay, hi. My name's Luke. I am a developer at a company called SwiftType, and we do search, and I also have been writing a lot of documentation. So this is kind of close to my heart. So I have a question for you. Are customer support requests correlated with customers' ability to find answers in your documentation? Yes. Okay. So I've been doing a lot of customer support, which means that I have to answer a lot of people's questions, which means that I have to repeat myself all the time. And being a programmer, I am lazy, so I don't like answering questions twice. So therefore, I've been working on ways to eliminate that. And so there's two ways that people find your documentations. There's internal and external search. So when we talk about external search, then you expect me to talk about SEO, right? Well, I think that SEO is mostly bull. But there are some good tips, but I think it all really comes down to writing good prose and linking to it so that it's discoverable by search engines. But one thing that I think a lot of people are guilty of, how many of your titles on your documentation look kind of like this? Yeah, ours kind of did too until fairly recently. This is much better, and what you want is just that's the main thing that's going to be presented to the user in the search results on Google. And so they're just going to be dropped into that, and they need to be able to evaluate quickly what is relevant to them. So the other thing about search is that it helps you find out what your customers need. The reason why Google is such a valuable company is because that search indicates intent. So when you search for a car, Google knows that you're interested in buying a car, and they can sell advertising about cars to you. Like, that's the entire point of that company, right? So what I think is interesting is to use search to find unanswered questions and then answer them. So it's sort of like proactive, right? Like I guess it is reactive because you're looking at your search logs, but you're trying to avoid them sending in support requests. So here's an example from our Google Analytics. This is our external search, right? I think there's a couple interesting things here. First of all, you notice that fewer and fewer searches are coming in with keywords, which is kind of sad. So 85% of the top 10 searches don't have keywords for us. The other thing that I think is interesting, and this is just the top 10, of course, but 98% of those other 9 that we have are some variation of our name, so they're just searching for our name. But this last one is interesting. Does anyone know what MAMP is? Yeah, I didn't know what that was until this morning when I was looking at this. And so now I'm like, I should write something about how you can use MAMP to try out our project. Or I guess what people are doing is they're using our WordPress plugin and they want to install it locally. So, that's good knowledge for me to know so that I can write something about it so that these people who are searching for SwiftType and MAMP can actually find something useful to them. The other thing that I think is really interesting is to find the searches that don't have any results. And I'm trying not to show my product, but this is from our weekly email that we send you. But you can do this as long as you can keep track of the number of results that are being returned by your search. You can do this yourself. So what we do is we look for searches that have no results and then make a report of them. And then you can fix them, right? So you notice a lot of these things. It's like there's 2 searches about PDF. There's some stuff about our JavaScript library. There's a lot of stuff about images and WordPress. So I saw this, and I wrote a tutorial about whether or not we support PDF, which the answer is no. And then I wrote some more stuff about how the image stuff works, and I reconfigured our search engine so that it makes sure it finds it. And then people get their questions answered. So I think this is a really valuable tool, and you should definitely check into it. Okay, so thank you. Are you next?
Sorry about that. Oh, anyway, sorry. Fantastic. Thank you. I didn't mean to run to the back, but I actually drank out of someone else's beer glass, so I was running back to wash my mouth out. Yeah, wraithan. All right, you've got. You are next.
It's at the middle of my slides.
I wrote it. Oh,
There's still more. There's tons of slots. Howdy, I'm wraithan. I'm a developer at Mozilla, and I'm one of the core devs on Read the Docs. My talk title, Read the Docs, unfortunately needs better docs. So we have a couple problems. We have user docs, which are people who are using Sphinx, using Read the Docs, and there's not a clear boundary between Read the Docs and Sphinx when you're just a user of Read the Docs, and it's hard for us to write docs for those users. And so it's a problem, and I would love help solving it. Most of these things are going to be problems that I'm looking for help with. Luckily, our users are technical people. They're writing docs for software in most cases. Some of them are writing books about software, and some of them are taking notes at tech conferences. But those people tend to be a little bit more advanced users who don't tend to need our help. It's more just someone who has their first Python project that they want to put up on Read the Docs, and they're running into some issues. Currently, our only vector for asking questions is...
Yeah.
Oh, you're on mic. Anyway. Sorry. Currently, our only vector for asking questions, I think we have a Google group, which I should be subscribed to, and I'm probably not. And there's an IRC channel, and I'm probably going to try and write a bot or add a part to my bot that's already in there to track the questions that are asked, so that we can maybe come up with a better frequently asked questions list. Which I know those are evil, but sometimes there's no better place in your docs for random things like, I don't know, like why won't the C extension build? Anyway, the other side of our docs are developer docs, folks that are working with, trying to work on Read the Docs. These people are generally even more technical people. They're people who are venturing out, trying actively to work on a Python project. So we assume they probably know Python. We assume they may or may not have worked on a Django project at some point, but they know what it is, things like that. So we have an unfortunate problem where it desynchronizes with the state of things, and that's a problem. Also, like the setup docs need to be simplified, and maybe the setup of Read the Docs itself needs to be simplified. And these are things that I need help with as well. And if you're looking to get into this, I'm totally willing to mentor someone. And if you know a lot about technical writing and stuff like that, I'd really like to be mentored by you. So, I mean, it can work both ways. I would really like that. That's why I have the sloths cuddling.
Which sloth are you?
It depends on the situation. I am a bigger dude, so probably the big sloth. Anyway, if you want to talk to me about this and help out, just get at me. All my contact info is down at the bottom, and the site itself is up there, readthedocs.org. Thank you.
She left. She had to go. So we have one more, and that is Nóirín. All right, we'll hook up your thing. Here's your mic, if you wouldn't mind.
If you can grab that. Thank you. I don't need that. No.
You don't need this?
Thank
at
you.
all? Oh,
Nope.
okay.
Ladies and gentlemen of the documentation community, collaborate. If I could offer you only one tip for the future, collaboration would be it. The long-term benefits of collaboration have been proven by scientists, whereas the rest of my advice has no basis more meaningful than my own meandering experience. I will dispense this advice now. Enjoy the power and beauty of your community. Oh, never mind, you will not understand the power and beauty of your community until they have faded. But trust me, in 6 months, you will look back at your version control system and recall in a way you can't grasp now how much possibility lay before you and how fabulous your roadmap really was. You're not as buggy as you imagine. Don't worry about the number of contributors you have, or worry, but know that worrying is as effective as trying to solve a bug by chewing bubblegum. The real troubles in your project are apt to be things that never crossed your idle mind, the sort that blindside you at 4 p.m. on some quiet Tuesday. Do one thing every day that you didn't think would work. Code. Don't be reckless with other people's patches. Don't put up with people who are reckless with yours. Test. Don't waste your time on jealousy. Sometimes you're ahead, sometimes you're behind. The race is long, and in the end, you have all the APIs you can handle. Remember the compliments you receive. Forget the insults. If you succeed in doing this, tell me how. Keep your old design docs and throw away your old flame wars. Edit. Don't feel guilty if you don't know what you want to do with your docs. The most interesting projects I know didn't know in '99 how to get rid of their FAQ. And some of the most interesting projects I know still don't. Get plenty of peer review. Be kind to your wrists. You'll miss them when they're gone. Maybe you'll be published, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be forked, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll be obsolete by 2015, and maybe you'll be writing for the White House in 2052. Whatever you do, don't congratulate yourself too much, or berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance, and so are everybody else's. Enjoy your community. Use it every way you can. Don't be afraid of it or of what other people think of it. It's the greatest asset you have. Communicate, even if it's only with the 2 other people who showed up on your mailing list. Keep the README up to date, even if no one ever reads it. Do not read the comments. They will only make you angry. Get to know your related projects. You never know what they'll be contributing to your community. Be nice to your fellow documentarians. They are the best link to your past and the people most likely to stick with you in the future. Understand that contributors come and go, but for the precious few, you should hold on. Work hard to bridge the gaps in geography and lifestyle, because the older you get, the more you need the people you knew when your doc set was young. Write a security advisory once, but quit before it makes you hard. Write a press release once, but quit before it makes you soft. Travel. Accept certain inalienable truths. Wikis will get tangled. Engineers will misunderstand. You too will get old, and when you do, you'll fantasize that when you were young, your wikis were clean, engineers understood, and your C64 was user-friendly. Respect your peers. Don't expect anyone else to maintain your documentation. Maybe you have a QA team. Maybe you have some great maintenance folk. But you never know when either one will get carpal tunnel. Don't mess too much with your website, or by the time you're out of beta, it will look like GeoCities. Be careful whose advice you buy, but be patient with those who supply it. Advice is a form of nostalgia. Dispensing it is a way of fishing the past from the bit bucket, wiping it off, putting interfaces over the ugly parts, and recycling it for more than it's worth. But trust me on the collaboration. Thank you.
I have nothing more to add. What a way to end. Nóirín, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good night. And be back here for 8 for Clue.